Hello campers, Dr. Dickey here.
Alright, wanted to do an update on what's going on. I'm going to be, again, increasing the packs another half times capacity. So should go from 400 amp hours to 600 amp hours. That's all theoretical. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here are the packs. I put together 14 packs with 80 cells in each one. I don't think last time I showed you how I zip up the packs and put the bus bars on the packs. I showed you me making the bus bars, but not putting them on the pack. So I'm going to do a video of zipping up one or two of these, or at least one, just so you can see how I do it. All right, let's do that. All right, hopefully you'll be able to see this. So I take a pack, set it down right here. Let me pull back a little bit so you can see what's going on. All right, so the second pack I did, this is pack number 3, has the positive in the front corner, so I want to go the negative in the front left side, and the positive in the back, because they go back and forth because they're in series. So I've made up my bus bars. I have enough for all 14 packs. That's 28 bus bars. So just take this, and hopefully without spilling them all out like I just did a minute ago, I can set these up. Oh, actually I want to put some of the gray cells in the middle, because I like them to look all purpley on the outside. So I'll just put move some of the gray cells to the inside, so when the pack's together you won't be able to see the gray cells, and they'll look all pink. The other ones, they're all purple. The other packs that I did are all purple, so this just makes them match nicely. And I get the cover back on the top here. So this is the positive side. So I have the positive side in the front right, so I want the negative side on the front left, positive side on the back right. I'll put these on. And then I have cut holes through here so that I can take the zip ties and push them through like this and have them come back. And then I say this is the dangerous part, because the pack, there's nothing really holding the packs together other than just a little bit of friction, tiny bit. So once I get these zip ties, when I get the first 2 zip ties on, then the pack is at least held to where it shouldn't fall back apart. Okay, so that's that side. Then on this side, I'll do the same thing, but I'll do it on the bottom for this one. Goes through, goes through, goes through, comes out, and that should be underneath this one. Up, go around it, and go back through. I don't get my big dumb head in the way. Zip ties are a wonderful thing, but boy, sometimes they can be a real booger to work with when you're pushing through these holes. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. There it goes, finally. Okay, so it's zipped on that side. So I can do this without letting it fall apart, or pull the zip tie back through. Come on, get in there. Alright, so now it's held together in the front and the back. I adjust the location so that they're appropriate before I tighten them up. Going up in the front. Once they're where they are, then I can tighten them up. And then I can do the opposite on this side. So if it's the tie part in there, I'll do the tie part back here, and then the other way on the other side. Of course, the zip ties always want to go where you don't want them to go. They always want to go back under. This side. And you got to make sure you put it in the right way, otherwise you can't twist it around when it's through there because there's too much pressure on it. So this holds the bus bars down and holds the packs together. So it does double duty, which is a good thing. All right, come on. Sometimes when the bar is putting a little bit of pressure on it, it'll make it go up or down where you don't want it to go, and so it gets caught on something in there. Come on. I don't know what the heck it's hitting. Come on. Come on. There it goes. Well, it came through perfectly on this side. And then there's just two more in the center, just so we have it all tied up. Is it here or the next one? It's this one, obviously, since it goes through. Oh, it's got to come underneath there, back around there, back around like that. And then the opposite on the bottom. And then you can see because the bus bar is pushing this up a little bit. There it goes. And then just nip off the extras. And make sure I did it correctly. Negative back up. Positive front up is not correct. Yeah, that's correct. Negative up front, and then that's going to be hooked to the positive of pack number 2. So there's another pack done. So I just got to do the rest of these packs like that. And then, of course, I have to weld them all up. And like I said, that should increase the capacity from what is now 400 amp hours, that's theoretical, to 600 amp hours, and then of course that's to get your watt hours, which tells you your real capacity. You have to take that times the voltage. Now, so this idea of capacity 48 volts, 600 amp hours, 48 volts, is really weird because actually the BMS on my system would cut off the battery if the voltage got to 49 volts. Yet it's considered a 48 volt system. Huh? Well, that comes from the old days, I guess. It's a carryover. Car batteries used to be 6 volts, and they went to 12 volts, but they never really 12 volts, nor were they ever really 6 volts. Well, they may have been 6 volts at some point, but really your car battery that you call a 12 volt lead acid system really goes from about 13.7 or something if it's really charging up for some point, down to about 12.4 or so is all it goes. Now maybe when you're cranking and you've got those cranking amps come out, it might drop down to 11 or so, but generally it's 12.7 or something around there. So why do they call it 12 volts? I don't know. I imagine it's a historical holdover, but really that isn't correct. They just call it 12 volts. I do know they've done research and people like even numbers rather than odd. So maybe they call it 12 rather than 13 because 12 is even, 13 is odd. I don't know why people like even numbers rather than odd. Personally, I've always liked odd things, so that's just the way people are. So they call this a 48 volt system because that is 4 times the 12 volt system. But like I said, really it ranges between 56 volts. I charge my cells up. The cells could theoretically go 4.2 to 2.9. I charge my cells up to about 3.99, and then they'll cut off when they get to 3.5, which is about 49 volts. So even though it's a 48 volt system, it's really 53 volts would be the sort of the average where it cycles between there. So anyway, so I'm going to upgrade that from 400 amp hours to 600 amp hours to have extra capacity, just for anything, whatever could happen. Something insane, Joe Biden might get elected, who the heck knows, crazy stuff happens. So you want to have that extra capacity. I would be able to charge my batteries up to the full capacity and discharge them down to the full discharge if I needed to. But you don't normally want to do that. You want to cycle them very gently. That's why I only go to like the cells to 3.99 rather than 4.2 and take them down to about 3.7, 7, 6, 7, 5, something like that. Because that way you get many, many more cycles out of them. I also have ordered my 8 280 amp hour EVE lithium iron phosphate cells. That's going to replace that 200 amp hour lead acid batteries I had. Lead acid's even worse when it comes to that. They call them 200 amp hours. Really, you can only do a 50% max depth of discharge on those. So really they're 100 amp hour batteries in real capacity, though they call them 200 amp hour capacity. It's crazy. You gotta understand all this stuff. So I've gotten rid of all my lead acid batteries except for the 200 amp hour lead acid batteries that I have, which really gives me a total of 200 amp hours because there's 2 of them for 200. Half of it's 200 for both. And that runs the backup refrigerator, which really our main refrigerator's on the power wall and solar system, so it's really backed up already. Backup refrigerator, freezer, and runs the solar pump in my ham radio. I'm going to switch that over to lithium iron phosphate. So this less depth of discharge gives you more ability to cycle the cells. Let's say I think lithium iron, the 18650 cells, I think it's 300 to 500 cycles. But if I only go to like 4.9 volts and take them down to like 3.75 volts, like I plan to do with this increased capacity, I might get 1,500 cycles out of them. Maybe not. Maybe only 1,000, maybe 1,200. But either way, I can get many more years out of it, and I hope to get 3 to 5 years out of this power wall that I've built. That would be nice. Lithium iron phosphate already starts off with, say, 1,500 cycles or something, or 1,000 cycles. And if you do them gently, you can make them last 15, 20 years maybe, before they get degraded to the point where you need to replace them. And by then, there'll probably be a new battery chemistry come along. So that's where we are right now. So let me take you out to the shed and the power wall so I can kind of show you what I plan on doing. As long as we're going out there, I show you too. This is my solar oven. I've been using this for maybe 15, 20 years. I cook basically beans in it, chicken in it. I do it just about every weekend when there's sun, and it gets very warm. Like now, I just needed to adjust it. It's about 220 degrees. It gets up to around 300, and most people say, yeah, but during the winter, it's not going to get that hot. Well, that's not actually true. What really reduces the ability of it to get hot is not the coldness or the lowerness or the sun moving down the sky. It's more a function of wind. If it's windy, the wind will blow away the heat and it won't get as hot. But right now it'll get up around 300 degrees. I'm cooking chicken in there now, and it will brown the chicken. It will burn it too if you leave it in there too long, but it's good. So I've been using that for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. Try to use it, like I said, every weekend that I can. Okay, again, been on the inverter now for a couple of weeks, working fine. We're only using about 5 or 6% of its output normally, and it's been functioning just great. I am very happy with the Sun Gold power, and hopefully it'll last for many, many years. So the increase in capacity. The problem is this cabinet that I bought, the shelves are only rated to hold 200 pounds. The battery system that's on there now, these 14 packs that are on there now, probably weigh about 230 pounds. I put a 3/4 inch piece of plywood underneath the, on top of the shelf, so that gives it extra weight that it can hold, and if they're rated for 200, they can probably hold 250 before there's any real problems, but you don't want to push it. So if I increase the capacity by 1/2, I'm going to increase the weight by half again. That means it's going to go from 250, it won't be, you know, this is more like 230. It would go up to about 335, 345, say 350. It probably could hold that with the plywood there, but I don't want to take a chance. So what I'm going to do is, I plan on getting the packs, the new increased capacity packs, welded up by Veterans Day. Halloween is in a week, so then Veterans Day is like 2 weeks after that, and I plan to get it welded up over that Veterans Day holiday, where I won't have classes on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so no problem. I should get it all welded up by then. Thanksgiving week, then I'm going to switch it out. What I plan on doing is down below, I've got to clean up this stuff, but I'm going to build with 4x4s a box that sits on the rails on the side here. You can see those rails on the side. It'll sit on top of those, and that will hold it up because that goes right to the legs on the floor. The center, you can't put anything on it because there's nothing holding it up, and it would just bend down. But on those, I'm going to build a box out of 4x4s. Plywood sits on top of those. Battery sits on top of that. The increased capacity cells are just going to sit on top of these cells, piggyback on top of them, and increase the capacity. That is the plan. So when I get the packs welded up and I'm capacity testing them, I hope to get 200 amp hours out of them. Capacity should be somewhere around there. These tested out about 400, and I'm using half as many cells. I will bring you back and update you on that, and then of course I'll bring you in for the big upgrade when it actually happens. All right, thanks for watching, appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Just a little update on the solar oven as we're going out. It's as you can see, it's 250 degrees now. It's about 4:30. Around 3 o'clock it was up close to 300. So the chicken's going to be cooked really nice. I'll show you what it looks like when it gets done and I bring it inside. And there it is. It created quite a bit of juice, which I will not put down the drain. But that is the chicken cooked quite nicely. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.